right, Mary, it's lovely to have you this morning. Thank you so much for making the time to come and chat to us. Mm-hmm. For those that are watching that don't know you, would you introduce yourself and SWPA?
Yes. But my name's Mary Bennell, and I'm the director of an organisation called SWPA, West Procurement Alliance, or as we often call it, SWPA, which sounds quite funny. But yes, West Procurement Alliance. And what we are is an organisation that delivers procurement solutions to public sector organisations. So we have a range of frameworks covering all sorts of things, from windows to off-site construction of new homes that clients can use to deliver their projects in a quicker way than if they did their own procurement, did their own tendering. They are pre-accredited quality suppliers on those frameworks. And we cover the Southwest, so Gloucester, Wiltshire and all points west is our region. And we're part of a group structure. The group is called the London Housing Consortium. It was set up in 1966 by a group of 6 local authorities to deliver efficiencies through aggregation and also promote industrialised building. You know, it's very far-reaching, you know, given where we are today. Yes, so we have regional offices in Wales, Scotland, London and the South East and the Midlands. Yeah.
Amazing. So, and how long have you been with the company?
I've only been with the company since September 2018, but I've been around a bit, and in fact have been very involved in and interested in procurement. I worked on client side for housing associations and local authorities most of my life. I had a short stint with a main contractor, but one of the things I did was worked in setting up another procurement consortium in the South East called the South East Procurement Consortium back in 23, 24. And that's still going. It's very successful, actually.
Amazing.
It's one of our sort of fellow procurement organisations, which is
brilliant.
Great. Yeah.
So you've got a lot of experience in this field and doing this kind of thing.
Yes.
Brilliant. And so obviously with the Housing Festival, we came across the organisation a little while ago. Do you remember the first time you came across the Housing Festival, what the kind of contact was?
First contact actually with the Housing Festival physically for me was coming to the exhibition in October, November 2018, and that was really interesting, sort of seeing all the examples and the demonstration homes. So that was very first contact, and I think what was so interesting from our point of view was the fact that it wasn't just about delivering homes, it was all the ideas around it, all the ideas, you know, social value, environmental sustainability, you know, it's not, you know, and that ethos really chimed with us, because although we provide procurement solutions, we really think of ourselves as also providing thought leadership, thinking, you know, working with clients and suppliers within the wider context of what's happening in society. And I think for me, one of the really good things about working with you as Bristol Housing Festival is that you have some really interesting ideas, and I always come away from conversations with you feeling really stimulated and excited and looking forward. You know, it's sort of very much exploring, you know, it's about being brave and exploring new ideas and new ventures and working together. It's that collaborative approach, working with people who are also interested in the ideas and share the same ethos. I think that's what it's about. It's not about, oh my goodness me, there's a problem here, we need to, you know, sort of, we've got to do something about it. It's about, oh yeah, look, there's a challenge, let's see what we can do. Absolutely. And it works, that sort of positive.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think there's something about framing a solution-focused mindset and maintaining a culture of being solution-focused as opposed to problem-focused that it makes a difference. And you mentioned that SWPA came out of LHC Southwest, is that right?
Yes. We actually became SWPA exactly a year ago today. It's our anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary. And of course we were going to have a big celebration, you know, and invite all our clients and suppliers to it. We had a launch last year on the 3rd of October, which was a Thursday. at Exeter Racecourse. Before that, we'd been called LHC Southwest as the regional arm of LHC. But, you know, consultation with clients and suppliers, the LHC didn't go down very well in the Southwest. You know, what does LHC stand for? London Housing Consortium.
Yes,
now,
that makes sense.
We have a lot of clients who are not housing. You know, we do a lot of work with some health trusts and with the police. So, you know, it didn't work for them. So, Mary, picking up specifically on some of the work that the Housing Festival has done, or not us directly, but you've been involved in with some of the projects that we've been involved in as well. So what's been your interest particularly then in home building and MMC, particularly the modern methods of construction? Well, as an organisation, as a group, we, as I say, 1966, you know, promotion of industrialised buildings. So certainly promotion of modern methods of construction, off-site construction of new homes, you know, the industrial strategy that came out a few years ago, really looking at the efficiencies that can be delivered through more industrialised housing processes. So that's really, as a group, we've promoted modern methods of construction and really see it as the way forward in terms of skills shortages, improving quality, improving social value. And that's been something that we've invested in as a group. We've sort of worked with some clients in Dorset to look at whole life cycle costing of modern methods of construction, and because there's an issue around upfront costs are sometimes seen as a bit more than traditional house building, but we've managed to demonstrate through working with this client that you know, if you take it over 30 years, it works out as a better value proposition. So yes, that's as I say, we've always been interested, feel it's the way forward. I do think that probably in 10 years' time there will be no people putting one brick on top of another. You know, we'll all be using different systems. Now, you picked up on something really interesting in the middle of that, thinking about actually the cost of the whole life of a product, or at least looking at the cost over a long period of time rather than just the initial upfront cost. And we've been doing a fair amount of work with Bristol City Council around the social value policy, their social value policy and the Social Value Act, and looking into how do we really look at cost when it comes to building homes, and is it just about that initial upfront cost, or is it about the kind of cost over a long period of time? And when you're looking at procurement, when you're using your frameworks, how are you able to take into account those different types of needs of a client, but also thinking about that kind of social value element and maybe looking even into the well-being of the people that are going to be using the products in the long term? I mean, one of the things we do, obviously, when we're procuring our frameworks, which are, you know, at the very early stages before you've even got a designated project or a client, we do ask about the social value commitments of the people who are applying to be on our frameworks, and we ask them to demonstrate what they've done in the past. And a lot of companies have been, you know, fostering employment schemes and community benefit. So there's that end where we are asking the questions. Then at the project level, when clients actually want to use our frameworks, we work with the clients, we'll discuss with the clients if they want to do a mini tender, a competition amongst the people on the frameworks, what they want to ask and what their social value requirements are. So in the case of Bristol City Council, you know, there's a very well advanced, well set out framework. There's a very nice leaflet that you can download talking about procurement for value. And what we're doing with our companies on our frameworks is we're actually going to be doing a training session with them around the social value framework, the TOMS framework that's administered by the Social Value Portal. And just remind me, what does TOMS stand for? Themes, Outputs and Measures. Brilliant. Yes. Great, thank you. Yes, you nearly caught me there. Yes. But it's a framework that sets out, the value of employment and the value of well-being and
so
community
putting
benefits.
almost monetary values against those sort of benefits.
Yes, it's quite a challenge to do, really. So in that sense, when we're working with clients to provide a procurement solution and a delivery solution, we will work with them to look at what social value needs to be put in there. I think the whole question of social value is obviously becoming, well, as is right, becoming far more prominent. The government's just announced that they're going to put in some social value measures. There is the social value portal. There are other organisations. We're in a period of, I think, consolidation of social value measures. But in terms of actually, when you've built some housing, it's about measuring afterwards. People make a lot of promises and say, the energy efficiency of my dwelling, my product, my home is such that you'll never need, you'll only need to use so many pounds of energy per year. But I think it's very important to do the follow-up on that. And I think one of the things we need to do is to sort of try and think of some measures around social well-being as well, particularly at this moment, because, people are spending much more time in their homes and their local surroundings. And, one of the big issues that's come out is about whether the spaces are fit for purpose, some of the housing that's been built. And I think those sort of measures and focus on those sort of measures going forward are going to be far more important.
Absolutely, I agree. I think, as you say, COVID has really sort of highlighted that, hasn't it? And people having to stay in their homes, you suddenly start to realise what you have and what you don't have, and what your neighbours or family members have and don't have. And actually the kind of importance of how our homes are even designed is coming back to really be a focal point and a very important issue at the moment. Yeah. For SWPA, what do you see your role in that whole conversation being? What's the, as this country faces not only that, but the housing crisis, a construction skills shortage, we're facing environmental and climate and ecological crises. What's your role in that? How does procurement play a part in tackling some of those things?
I think for us, there are two ends. There's the providing some suppliers of modern, high quality, energy efficient, pleasant dwellings, through our framework. So clients can say, I want to produce some homes that are going to be fit for purpose, and we can say, well, we have a range of suppliers you can use. And I think one of the things about using a framework is you can see who the range of suppliers are, whereas if you just went to the market yourself and procured for a project, you wouldn't know who was going to be interested in it, and you might end up with maybe a solution that wasn't quite fitting your requirements. So I think our role is very much at the early stages, talking to clients who are interested in developing MMC and are talking to us about what their requirements are, whether the people that we have on our framework can meet those requirements, and doing some early market engagement on those subjects, so that when they actually say, okay, we've developed our specification, we now know what we want. They've had some interaction with suppliers, and they can then sort of finalise their specification and say, please give us your final offer on that. It's a challenge because a framework is a static thing. They're procured at one point. For example, our off-site construction new homes framework was procured in 2018-19 for 4 years. Now we're in 2020. The market's moved on. There are some excellent firms out there, companies delivering off-site solutions who aren't on that. So for me, the challenge for procurement is always changing, always providing, changing and meeting the needs and being flexible and adaptable. And that's a challenge that I'm facing at the moment. I think discovery mode at the moment, talking to people, talking to clients, talking to companies about how can we best, you know, provide delivery solutions that meet clients' requirements, that mean they don't have to, you know, spend years and months just going around the country looking at who's out there and formulating their specifications, but can learn from what's gone before, and that they have a good pool of people to choose from. Yeah.
Now, we've had conversations in the past about some of the values that SWPA hold and the kind of priorities that you put on various different things, particularly in the environmental arena. Is this something you could share a little bit about, kind of about the values of SWPA, and particularly your drive to support the environmental crisis, or solutions for the environmental crisis?
Well, I suppose a very immediate thing that shows that we're sort of, you know, we're not only very keen on the products that we have and the suppliers we have actually delivering environmental efficient solutions, is we've been looking at our own green footprint, our carbon footprint, and we've just done an analysis that's really fascinating of how our carbon footprint has been reduced during this time of lockdown. So in terms of our carbon footprint, we analysed the car mileage and emissions from February to August 2019, and then February to August this year. And it's amazing the amount that we've saved in terms of trees. I think we'd used the equivalent, you know, to offset our carbon, it would have taken 344 trees in 2019. Wow. And this year it was about 30 trees. So that's really what that's doing is, you know, okay, we're saying we're promoting, you know, environmental sustainability, but what we're doing is we're now looking at how we can deliver our role in a way that is far more sustainable, you know, and so we're talking a lot about, you know, more video conferencing, less travel, being more considered about what we do.
And that's a really amazing thing, to be able to look at tackling those issues that we're facing as a nation anyway, but from lots of different perspectives. So from the work you're actually doing in procurement, but also as a company yourselves being able to reduce your own carbon footprint. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think that's very important. And I might say that we're our national group is a small company of 50 people. So it's not, you know, if 50 people can reduce their carbon emissions by not doing their day-to-day activities, not jumping in their cars all the time. And that doesn't take into account, you know, planes, which we try and not use at all, or trains or anything. Yeah.
It's a great challenge for the rest of us, absolutely.
Yeah.
So looking across you've obviously worked in different areas of the country, and the wider group that SWPA belongs to is part of a kind of wider reaching group. What do you see that's making the Southwest particularly interesting or innovative, or that kind of helps us to stand out, particularly down this end? Are there particular projects you've been involved in maybe that kind of just you'd like to shout about for the Southwest?
I think the Southwest has a reputation for being, and people in the Southwest are very, very interested in quality of life and environment, and that probably is more important to people than you know, their work-life balance is very important to them. And you find that interestingly, anecdotally, if it, you know, down in the far west in Cornwall, if it's a beautiful day in the summer, everybody disappears off site in the afternoon to go surfing. So, and people don't believe that, you know, but, you know, I've spoken to sort of senior directors in major contracting firms, and they say, we didn't believe that, but then we went and saw, and it does happen. So that makes the Southwest different. You know, people enjoy their surroundings, enjoy their quality of life, and that's very important to them. So that makes it unique. I think Bristol as a city and as an organisation has always been a trailblazer in terms of innovation, ideas. You know, you've got the big universities, but always been known as a hub of a generator of ideas. So working with Bristol Housing Festival and Bristol City Council has been very valuable and interesting in that sort of way, and some of the commitments to climate change and environmental sustainability. In terms of other work we're doing a lot of work, as I say, in Dorset, doing some trailblazing work on delivering modern methods of construction with Magna Housing Association, and they've formed a partnership or a contract with Roll Along. And what we're really trying to do there, and it's overcoming one of the blockers, if you like, to delivering modern methods of construction, is forming a cluster, aggregating demand so that we've got a good pipeline going through the factory. Because for factories and modular providers, there's nothing worse than this stop-start. And unless you're a really enormous client, you're not going to have a pipeline of 400, 500 homes a year, to support one factory. And actually, even a client who does have 400, 500 homes a year might not want to use the same systems all the time. So it's about, one of the things that we're trying to do in the Southwest is to form this aggregation of demand amongst clients, and it's been hard dues to do it, but we're finally getting a bit of traction in Dorset doing that.
That's really good news, because as you say, it's one of the major issues that faces a lot of modular companies and modular construction. So Mary, looking to the future, looking forward, what is coming up for SWPA? What have you got your eye on? What do you see coming in the next maybe even 5 to 10 years, maybe shorter than that, but what do you see coming, particularly within the MMC space around procurement?
Well, we have our off-site construction of new homes framework, which was set up in early 2019 for 4 years. And the thing about the framework is it's static. We have 13 fantastic providers, lots of them very different on that framework. But I've been doing some research in my role as one of the chairs of the theme group for Constructing Excellence Southwest in looking at who is out there providing off-site solutions in the Southwest. And there are 24 different providers of modular and structural timber panelised systems in the Southwest, which I didn't know until I'd started sort of doing research and working with other people. And the question is there some way, because, whilst one doesn't want to be exclusively Southwest, is there some way we can work with them and promote them and get them to be part of people's delivery solutions moving forward, because we all know that MMC is going to increase. So I've been looking at other procurement vehicles, and there is the option of a dynamic purchasing system, and whether that would work within an MMC context. And that's something that I'm talking to a lot of people about. Anybody who wants to get feedback to me, please do. I'm in sort of discovery phase at the moment. But whether that being a vehicle where people can join the system and then be used by clients subject to more assessment is a useful vehicle for us to look to produce. We do want to, we want to help. We want to, my aim and SWPA's aim and our group's aim is to assist people in delivering more off-site modular homes because of the quality aspects, because of the environmental sustainability. So it's about thinking about how can we as a procurement provider be an enabler to that. A lot of people see procurement as quite a blocker. We don't want to do that. We want to be somebody who provides and makes life easy for clients in terms and easy and quality assured products for them.
Mary, you've been involved in a particular project in Bristol, the Hope Rise development with Z-Pods that we've also been part of. Can you share a little bit about your role within that project?
Yes, I think our role, obviously, our framework, our off-site construction new homes framework has Z-Pods and its manufacturing facility, Impact Modular, on it. So before or whilst the design and the concept was all being produced, we were having conversations with yourself and Jez about how, you know, we had this framework and could offer modular solutions. And at the point it came to sort of looking at how the project was to be procured, there were lots of questions, lots of discussions about whether it would be a suitable vehicle to use to procure the Z-Pods. And yes, you know, there was lots of due diligence around it, lots of assessing whether we had procured that correctly in accordance with all the public sector EU requirements. And yes, it was felt that was the right route. And so, you know, we're very happy, we're very pleased to be a part of that. We have a long-standing relationship, obviously, through our framework with Z-Pods and Impact Modular. So now, in fact, just after this meeting with you, I'm going to go and see the project in its full glory.
And we're delighted because they're due to be completed by the time this interview goes out. They should be completed and finished. And do you have other modular schemes on the horizon? Yes,
we have a number, and a lot of clients are looking with great interest at the Impact Modular. We have some clients sort of in North Somerset looking at you know, the particular fact it's over a car park. We've got others who are very, very keen on a zero carbon approach. So, you know, that's something that is really appealing to them. And they're all, I think what's very interesting about a lot of clients in the Southwest, you have some trailblazers like yourselves and Magna Housing, and then you have a lot who are looking at what's going on and are very interested in the Hope Rise project. So, for example, we had a webinar yesterday with Z-Pods, and there were about 26 people listening in with great interest to all the details around that. So, yeah.
And if we wanted to watch any of your webinars, or anybody listening to this interview wanted to follow some of the work you're doing and the webinars that you are putting on, is there a place they can go to sign up or see what's coming?
Yes, certainly our SWPA website, www.SWPA Procurement, will do it. We're also very active on Twitter and LinkedIn, so you can find us there all the time.
Great.
Yes.
Makes it easy to be able to kind of just find you in all the good places.
Yes. And we also have a YouTube channel as well, that actually is where the recordings of the webinars are
great.
held.
So we can go back and watch those recordings.
Yes. So they're put on there.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, Mary, thank you so much for your time today. It's been so lovely to meet with you and chat with you and just hear a little bit more about SWPA and what's going on and actually what's coming in the Southwest. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.